There is a specific kind of silence that lands right before something historic happens in a hallway. Not the silence of an empty room, the silence of a crowd holding its breath. And when Alex Eala stepped through airport arrivals in Austria ahead of her April 6th debut at the Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open, that silence lasted approximately 0 seconds. Filipino flags were already in the air. Cameras were raised 3 rows deep. And one of the most recognizable young athletes on the planet walked into a roar that had been building for months. She had not yet struck a single ball on Austrian soil. She had not yet seen a draw, taken a practice session, or set foot inside the design center Linz. And none of that mattered because the people waiting for her were not waiting for a result. They were waiting for her. If you have been following this channel because you sensed this story was moving faster than mainstream tennis coverage could keep up with, subscribe right now and stay close. Because what just happened in Austria is not a travel update. It is a statement. The story officially begins on March 23rd in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium under the warm Florida sun. Eala fell to world number 14 Karolina Muchova in the round of 16, absorbing a 0-6, 2-6 defeat that was as blunt as the scoreboard suggested. Tennis 365, https www.tennis365.com Tennis News, Alex Eala's next tournament after Miami Open 2026. It was a painful afternoon. There is no softening it. Eala had earned 120 ranking points in the tournament, losing 270 as she failed to match her dream semi-final finish the previous year. The Manila Times, https www.manilatimes.net 2026-03-24 Sports Alex Eala to begin clay season at Linz Open 2306025. The math was unforgiving. She was set to drop from 29th to the 45th to 50th ranking range once the official update landed the following week. Tennis 365, https is www.tennis365.com Tennis News, Alex Eala's next tournament after Miami Open 2026. For a player who had spent the opening months of 2026 ascending with such visible momentum, the Miami exit carried a particular sting. The crowd had come for her, the cameras had followed her, and then a Czech player with a ruthless left hand ended the week in straight sets. But here is what happened next, and this is the part that explains everything about who Alex Eala actually is. She did not spiral, she did not go quiet, she acknowledged the loss clearly and honestly, told reporters she was leaving the court disappointed, and then kept the larger truth intact. I leave Miami still happy. If you look at my year, my results were good. Quarterfinals in Dubai, 4th round in Indian Wells, and 4th round in Miami. If you had told me this last year, I wouldn't have believed it. Daily Tribune, https tribune.net.ph 2026-03-25, Eala pleased with Miami bid, braces for clay season. That quote does not read like damage control. It reads like someone who has learned to measure their progress over a season rather than a single afternoon. She also confirmed what was coming next without hesitation. I think I do deserve a break. I'll take a couple of days off, then I'll get back to work to prepare well for the clay season. Daily Tribune, https tribune.net.ph 2026-03-25, Eala pleased with Miami bid, braces for clay season. And then, with exactly that kind of quiet resolve, she pointed her entire career toward Austria and the opening chapter of a clay season that suddenly looks nothing like the question mark it appeared to be just weeks ago. The destination she chose is not a quiet warm-up event. The Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open runs from April 6 to 12 at the Design Center Linz, a WTA 500 tournament with 4 decades of history on the WTA calendar since 1987, counting Coco Gauff, Aryna Sabalenka, and Jelena Ostapenko among its past champions. Spin.ph, https www.spin.ph Tennis, Alex Eala set to reset recharge before heading to clay season A5-019 2026-03-24. But 2026 marks a transformation for the tournament that makes Eala's presence inside it all the more significant. The WTA 500 tournament in Linz had previously been held on hard courts, but it has switched to indoor clay for 2026. The Tennis Gazette, https www.thetennisgazette.com, News Alexandra, Eala, and Emma Raducanu confirm their first WUPTA clay court tournament this year. That is a reinvention of a 39-year-old event, and the field waiting on that new surface is not soft. 10 top 40 players in the WTA rankings are scheduled to appear, including defending champion Ekaterina Alexandrova, Jelena Ostapenko, Clara Tauson, Lyudmila Samsonova, and Emma Raducanu. WTA, https www.wtatennis.com News 4467540. Past champions Ekaterina Alexandrova, Jelena Ostapenko lead Linz field. Alexandra Eala to make debut. The singles draw features 28 players. Spin PH, https www.spin.ph. Tennis, Alex Eala set to reset recharge before heading to clay season A5-119, 2026-0324. Linz marks the 9th stop in a whirlwind 2026 season for Eala, who has played 8 tournaments with impressive results that helped her reach a career best in the world rankings. Spin.ph, https www.spin.ph. Tennis, Alex Eala set to reset recharge before heading to clay season A5-019, 2026-0324. This is not a tune-up. This is a first serious examination of what she can do when the surface changes and the pressure stays exactly the same. Now go back to the airport footage that spread across social media in the days following her Miami exit and look at it for what it actually is. Filipino supporters were not gathered in the arrivals hall because they had purchased tickets to a match yet to be scheduled. They were there because for a generation of fans across the Philippine diaspora, watching Alex Eala travel to a new city has become an event in itself. Holding Filipino flags and wearing shirts that read Alexandra Eala Fan Club, hundreds of enthusiastic fans have shown up wherever she plays, looking desperate to make their way inside to get a glimpse of the 20-year-old sensation. ESPN, https www.espn.com tennis story wide or 8137178 Indian Wells, California, BNP Paribas Alex Eala Coco Gauff. That scene has played out in Melbourne, where hundreds of Filipino fans watched on nearby big screens and waved their national flag, and chants of "Let's go Alexandra" frequently rang out. Inquirer.net, https sports, Inquirer.net, 659147 Alex Ealas. Melbourne, Maine, draw debut, ends after overwhelming scenes. It played out at Indian Wells, where a day-in-the-life video featuring Eala posted to the BNP Paribas Open official YouTube channel became the tournament's most viewed content of the 2026 event, and it wasn't close. ESPN, https www.espn.com tennis story ID 4813778 Indian Wells, California, BNP Paribas Alex Eala Coco Gauff. And it played out again in Abu Dhabi, where upon her arrival, Eala panned her camera to the cheering Filipino crowd and said, simply, that she could not wait to be back on court. The pattern is unmistakable. Wherever Eala goes, home follows her. That cultural weight is not a distraction from the tennis story. It is the tennis story. Eala has a career-high WTA singles ranking of world number 29, achieved on March 16, 2026, making her the highest-ranked Filipino in WTA Tour history. Wikipedia, https chusn.wikipedia.org/wiki Alexandra Eala. She is the first Filipino to break into the top 30, have multiple wins over top 10 players and major champions, and reach a tour-level final in the Open era. Wikipedia, https wikipedia.org, wiki Alexandra Eala. None of those milestones arrived with fanfare from the establishment before they happened. They arrived because a 20-year-old from Quezon City, who moved to Mallorca at 13 to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy, refused to stop climbing. And now her coach, the man who has been alongside every step of this ascent, has articulated the philosophy that drives it with surgical precision. Joan Bosch, the Spaniard who worked with Carlos Moya for 7 years during one of the great clay court careers in tennis history, brings a wealth of red dirt knowledge to Eala's development. The Tennis Gazette, https www.thetennisgazette.com, News, Alex Eala's Dubai form shouldn't overshadow very real clay court concerns. His message publicly and consistently is blunt. The standard cannot stay the same. Every tournament must demand more than the last. That philosophy is not comfortable. It is the reason she is world number 29 at age 20, and it is the engine running underneath every flag waved in every arrival hall. The honest accounting of her clay record makes the Linz challenge real and not cosmetic. In 2025, Eala posted a 2-4 win-loss record across 4 clay tournaments from April to June, a stretch that included her campaign at Roland Garros, where she suffered a first-round defeat. Spin bot H. https www spin bot H tennis. Alex Eala set to reset recharge before heading to clay season A50119 2026-0324. Her sole tour level win on clay last year came in the first round of the Madrid Open. The Tennis Gazette, https www.thetennisgazette.com, news, Alex Eala's Dubai form shouldn't overshadow very real clay court concerns. Eala has only won 3 of her 10 previous matches on the surface on the WTA Tour, and she has never surpassed the second round of any tournament on clay. The Tennis Gazette, https www.thetennisgazette.com, news, Alexandra, Eala, and Emma Raducanu confirmed their first WTA clay court tournament this year. Those are not numbers to hide from. They are the exact reason Linz matters. She arrives in Austria not as a clay court veteran seeking to protect something, but as a genuine newcomer to this version of herself, stepping onto a surface that has not yet seen the best of what she is becoming. What makes that risk navigable is the ranking opportunity hiding inside it. Eala is only defending 70 ranking points through to the end of the French Open in mid-June, meaning she has a massive opening to climb back toward and beyond her career peak. Tennis 365, https://tennis365.com, WTA Tour Alex Eala ranking, prediction clay courts. There are 500 ranking points available in Linz alone, and a deep run could fire her back toward the top 30. Tennis 365, https www.tennis365.com, WTA Tour Alex Eala ranking, prediction clay courts. From there, she is scheduled to play the Madrid Open and the Italian Open in preparation for Roland Garros in Paris, where she hopes to secure her first main draw victory at the French Open. Daily Tribune, https tribune.net.ph 2026-03-25, Eala, pleased with Miami bid, braces for clay season. The trajectory is not theoretical. It is mapped, confirmed, and already in motion. A player who arrived at the Miami Open last year as a wild card ranked 140th in the world is now building a clay schedule that ends at the second Grand Slam of the season with real seeding ambitions. That is a transformation that has happened in 12 months. 12 months. She is also going into this surface with her eyes clear on what it demands. After her loss in Miami, Eala addressed the clay season directly. I'm super excited for the clay court swing. I think that's one surface I definitely have a lot of room for improvement, so I'll love to see how it'll pan out this year. Tennis 365, https www.tennis365.com, tennis news, Alex Eala's next tournament after Miami Open 2026. That quote is not the deflection of a player in denial. It is the assessment of someone who has measured the gap and decided the gap is crossable. She has Bosch beside her, the same coach who shaped clay court habits for years at the highest level of the men's game. She has a ranking light enough to free her from the psychological weight of protecting points. And she has something harder to quantify, but impossible to ignore: the momentum of a crowd that follows her across continents and changes the temperature of a room before she has even played. Eala herself, in an interview with Andy Roddick, reflected on the nature of her own fame with a kind of grounded wonder that is rare in someone this young. My success kind of skyrocketed, which I'm very thankful for. I don't know how long this is gonna last. It's definitely not going to be forever, so I try to enjoy as much as I can while it's happening. Tennishead, https tennishead.net, Eala opens up about moment at the 2026 Australian Open, which left her lost for words. Read that again. She is not taking the flags in the airport as a given. She is taking them as a gift, with full awareness that gifts can be temporary, and responding to that awareness not with anxiety, but with gratitude and effort. That is the psychology of an athlete who is not going to be derailed by the first bad week on a new surface, because she has already absorbed a harder lesson, that attention and outcome are not the same thing, and that results are built in the hours nobody films. The Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open begins on April 6th. The draw arrives before that, and it will tell us what kind of first test waits across the net. But the draw is not the story. The story is already written in the footage from the arrival hall, in the facts of a 500-level clay debut with points to gain and nothing meaningful to protect, in the presence of a coach whose knowledge of the red surface runs as deep as anyone in the sport, and in the words of a 20-year-old who has decided that a painful Miami scoreline is not a verdict, but a data point. Tennis produces good weeks regularly. It does not often produce this. A player who crosses borders and brings the emotional weight of an entire nation with her, arriving at a new surface for the first time with enough armor to make the uncertainty feel like an advantage, rather than a threat. Austria received not just Eala, the tennis player. It received the full story, the diaspora behind her, the coaches who shaped her. The surface waiting to be conquered, the rankings opportunity sitting there like an open door, and the particular quality that has defined everything she has done since Miami 2025, the ability to absorb a hard landing, file the loss in the correct drawer, and walk into the next city already looking forward. Those people in the arrivals hall were not celebrating a result. They were greeting a player who has made them believe, repeatedly and specifically, that the best chapter is always still ahead. And the evidence right now is that they are correct. So before the April 3rd draw lands and before that first ball is struck on the new indoor clay at the Design Center Linz, tell us in the comments what you think matters more as she opens this clay season, the opponent across the net in round 1 or the form and freedom she carries into Austria, having defended nothing. And if she opens Linz with a composed win on a surface she has rarely dominated, does that become the moment her clay game stops being a question and becomes a threat to the rest of the draw? Drop your read on that below. Hit the like button if you have been tracking this story since before the headlines caught up. Share this video with the community that knows who Eala is and what she is building. And subscribe to Court Era Tennis, because when her name appears in the draw on April 3rd, this channel will have the breakdown before the dust settles. The flags were flying in Austria. This channel was already watching.